I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about a topic that's really close to my heart, which is natural dental care. Because our family has always been under great scrutiny due to the fact that we deny fluoride treatment at the dentist and x-rays and things like that, we have to make sure that we understand why we're doing that so we can come across confidently to explain our reasoning for that. So we always make sure in our family to be really proactive about our dental health. I get that going to the dentist causes angst for most people, myself included at times. I don't enjoy my visit, but I do love that they so often praise us for our teeth. And I think that's largely due to how we eat and because we use the Young Living tooth care or dental products. Now, most dentists believe in what's called the germ theory. And because of this, we're going to talk a little bit more about this later. A visit can often feel like they're shaming or scolding you. So, my purpose tonight is to arm you with information so that you don't feel shamed or scolded and to empower you, especially if you're going to a traditional dentist rather than a biological or holistic dentist. I'm going to give you some tips about using Young Living products, along with the big picture and your role in your dental health care, because it's not just the dentist, it does also, you have play a part in this. Okay, so for 5 years, we avoided going to the dentist. First COVID happened, then we also moved. And then I just had been so long, I didn't want to then suddenly take my kids to the dentist and have to answer questions as to why we weren't going to the dentist. I just thought it was really silly to wear a mask in the dentist office when our mouth was going to be open later. So when I finally did schedule that appointment, I made sure it was a day where I could be calm and relax. I slathered myself with Valor on my chest and then made sure to have some CBD. Some other things that might help you out are using Unwind before you go, the Tranquil Roll On, the CBD, Peace and Calming, Stress Away. So use the things, apply those to your body, go with these soothing aromas. Then also you're really essentially blessing the dentist when you go because you're not having an overpowering perfume that they also have to smell the entire time. So you can make it enjoyable for them too. So that is what I do. But when I went back to the dentist, I was really saddened by some of the things that I saw because you can have anesthesia, which I understand people get anxious, but there's some things that you can do, like I just mentioned, to help with that anxiety. And you're going to be empowered now so you don't have to fear the dentist. And it seems that it is normal to have chemicals to brighten our teeth, that it's acceptable that fillings and cavities are normal, that we should put sealants on our teeth just in case. And that's really kind of what I'd like to talk about. First, a deep dive into sealants is that sealants are a hormone altering chemical that you're placing or the dentist is placing on the open pores on your teeth. And those are going to travel directly into your bloodstream and then brain. But sealants don't actually solve the underlying problem, which is what we're learning about tonight. Sealants contain BPA, which is that toxic substance that is in water bottles that everyone tells you, like, hey, don't have BPA linings, don't have water bottles with BPA. Well, they're putting that on your teeth and that's going directly into your bloodstream. So we want to minimize that. The other thing that's super alarming about sealants is that they stop the flow of dentin, which is the fluid that remineralizes your teeth constantly. So the bottom line is that sealants really are not helpful, and they're going to cause a myriad of physical issues, and they're highly toxic. But the sad thing is that sealants are often targeted at children because we don't want them to get a cavity, right? Well, sealants only last about a year. So you're going to add BPA, toxic substance, to your child's teeth or your teeth every single year? I think not. So let's look at getting empowered. So let's look at how to take care of our teeth and our mouth naturally using Young Living products and nutrition. So we're going to discuss how nutrition plays a crucial role in oral health. You're going to get some simple recipes for remineralizing your teeth. And I really want you to understand this important fact that teeth are actually not designed to decay. That's not how God planned it. Aging doesn't mean that you're going to have bad teeth. Your teeth are alive and capable of repairing themselves just like your skin. Now, conventional dentistry is built upon the idea that bacteria is the evil culprit. You eat too much sugar. Your genes are bad. You have bad luck. You're not brushing enough. You need fluoride to have healthy teeth. Remember, dentistry is built upon the germ theory. This is where they believe a specific bacteria or germ causes the disease. So they think that bacteria is the cause of the disease, or the acid that the bacteria produces as it eats the sugar on your teeth. Well, tooth health really is not based on the germ theory. It has everything to do with food, diet, gut health, and even your emotions. And we're going to learn about this a little bit later from Dr. Weston A. Price. Natural dental care is really important, in my opinion. Conventional dental practices rely heavily on synthetic chemicals, such as fluoride, which many of us would prefer to avoid. Anyone else have a Berkey water filter for that reason? I know I don't want to have fluoride and chlorine because I know how harmful those are to my endocrine system and other in my skin and all sorts of things in my body. It's harmful to me. So why is fluoride so bad? Well, fluoride, which was initially used to prevent tooth decay, is an acute toxin with a rating slightly higher than lead. It is, in fact, one of the most bone-seeking elements known to human beings. Excessive fluoride causes diseases such as osteoporosis, arthritis, cancer, infertility in women, brain damage, Alzheimer's disease, and thyroid disorders. I don't know about you, but I would like to avoid these diseases. I already have Hashimoto's and I have it in remission right now. I'd like to keep it that way, not add to it. So while Western dental methods can be effective for a time or a season in your life, they don't align with everyone's holistic health goals. A natural approach to dental care focuses on working with your body's own ability to heal and maintain itself. Let's take a look at what makes our mouths so magical. The nose and mouth are essentially the beginning of your gut. This means that the oral microbiome are inextricably linked. What happens in our mouth also happens in our gut. The mouth massively influences gut health because of its ideal location. It immediately impacts the immune system. Aside from its prime location, the mouth has special qualities that are appealing. It has a constant flow of your superhero saliva, which washes away bacteria, carries food, and helps good bugs latch on to your teeth. Each area in your mouth caters to a different group of bacteria. Over 20 billion bugs or bacteria and whatnot take up residence in your mouth. Now, that doesn't mean they're all bad. When you have a great homeostasis or equilibrium, this is a good situation to have. However, what happens when things go south? When you have too many bugs? This is called dysbiosis. It has become a really important concept when it comes to gut health, oral health, and the human microbiome. Our good bugs are stable and live in harmony unless they are disturbed by medicine, disease, low pH or acidity. Super big plug there for Young Living Alkaline to take that daily, or major dietary changes. When these bugs are thrown out of balance, you have dysbiosis in your body. When the wrong bugs start to take over, they can crowd out beneficial bacteria, which opens you up to infections and pathogens. Oral dysbiosis can cause cavities, gingivitis, root canal infections, and bad breath. Oh, so we don't want that. Thankfully, we do have natural tools to help avoid or overcome gut and oral dysbiosis. Now, here are some products that you can use for natural dental care. I want to specifically focus on the Thieves Whitening Toothpaste. You can also use the Thieves Aromavite, but what is important in there is that it contains an ingredient that is the component of the enamel in your teeth. So brushing your teeth with the Thieves Whitening Toothpaste is super helpful with that. The Thieves Mouthwash has some amazing ingredients in it, including colloidal silver, which is a natural, gets rid of unhealthy bacteria. It's a really, really safe, stabilizing component of that Thieves mouthwash that aids your mouth. And you can see the orange oil. So let's say you don't have the Thieves whitening toothpaste, you just have Thieves Aroma Bright. Well, you can put the orange oil on your toothpaste, and orange oil acts as a natural whitener. We'll talk a little bit later about the different probiotics, mineral essence. I already did the plug for alkaline to keep your pH right. The surprising fact about MindWise, and then we'll add in taking a good Super C, and then multigreens and ninja greens. If you do not eat organ meats, which I don't, you're going to also need the following supplements. Now, these are based on the Weston Price diet, which has so much credibility, so many cases where this has proven that when you add these components in, you're going to have good, healthy teeth. So you want to make sure that you're getting beef liver and organs. Since I don't eat those, I highly recommend the Heart and Soil supplements that you can get from them, because it's not a product Young Living carries. And then also you're going to want to get fermented cod liver oil and butter oil. Now, you can get those separately and take them with a spoon, or you can get them in a capsule. Due to the smell and the taste, I highly recommend that you use the capsule. Now, Dr. Weston A. Price, he took note of the low incidence of dental problems in remote, non-Westernized cultures. He discovered that the cultures that had healthy teeth, their health overall was better than people with traditional diets. He found that in these more remote cultures, the one thing they had in common was eating the high quality fats and the beef liver and organs. And they seemed to almost have complete immunity from tooth decay. Their diets were unusually high in protein, vitamins, minerals, and fat soluble factors with no empty calories. So this is why it's super important that you add these supplements into your Young Living routine and eating quality whole foods. All right, let's look at some of the hot topics in the dental industry. Gingivitis. So gingivitis and periodontal disease is not fun. And what I want you to think about is your gums like a turtleneck sweater. You don't want your gums to become like a crew neck sweater or shirt where your gums are receding. So your gums will typically get into trouble before your teeth do. So gingivitis is a sign that there's more on the way. So you really want to get the gingivitis under control, because gingivitis leads to periodontal disease. Periodontal disease can become, worse. Then you can get some bone issues. You can get abscesses and things like that. Now, before our kids started using Invisalign, our orthodontist, who ascribes to more natural mindset, wanted to make sure that that their gums were healthy. And so when he tested them, he noticed that they had gingivitis. And what I didn't know is that you can pass gingivitis along. So I figured if one has it, then we probably all had it. So we started using the Thieves mouthwash. Well, he said he wanted to give us a drug for that. And I was like, nope, we're not doing it. Let me do my thing and we'll get it on track. Now, at the time, the kids were not using the mouthwash. We used the toothpaste, that was it. But we added in the mouthwash, and that's when we saw a difference. And their gums stopped bleeding. They were not sensitive anymore. They regained their color back. And so we were cleared of gingivitis, and that we could proceed with our orthodontia work. Now, the other interesting thing is that CoQ10 is a very important for providing energy for for gum cell growth. We have a product for that. That is called MindWise. So MindWise, you can get your teeth looking great, and then you can also be supporting your brain and proper brain health. You also, when you're talking about gingivitis, you want to be giving your body extra vitamin C. Those bioflavonoids promote healing, especially with bleeding of gums, and it also helps in the retardation and growth of plaque. So If your teeth are compromised or you have extreme gingivitis, then I want to encourage you to take the Super C that is you swallow. Otherwise, if you really don't have bad gingivitis, you want to just have vitamin C like we do, then the chewable Super C would be fine. All right, let's talk about toothaches. Now, obviously, if you have a toothache that lasts for any length of time, you want to go check that out to make sure potentially that you don't have something, or you also have the tools where you could heal that toothache. But what I'm mainly trying to get to help you with is, instead of taking an over-the-counter drug, is try clove and copaíba oil on that tender spot and see if that alleviates the pain and maybe takes the symptoms away. All right, wisdom teeth. I like to think that God knew what he was doing when he made our bodies. So wisdom teeth are there for a reason. Therefore, I worked really hard at helping our kids keep their wisdom teeth and not have them removed like the dental industry is encouraging them to. Wisdom teeth serve an immense purpose. So as a culture, we've come to demonize having wisdom teeth, and it's a sad rite of passage to have them removed in the early teen or in the teen years. Removing your wisdom teeth have a cascading and dramatic effect on the gut, jaw, and alignment, and even impacts emotional health. So let's not remove them, but understand their purpose and role. The wisdom teeth are just as important as any molars in crushing food and preparing your food for digestion. If these are removed, you're essentially removing 33% of your molars and the digestive ability in your mouth. When wisdom teeth are removed, this often becomes a potential place for infection and can add extra stress to other teeth. Instead of removing them, look at widening that dental arch and making room for it. So that's one of the first steps we did when my kids got their Invisalign, is we wanted to move their arch. So many of them had more of a pointed arch, and we really wanted it to spread out more like this, just widening that area, making room for the tongue, because the tongue should rest up there so that you can be you can be a nose breather and not a mouth breather. So that was one of the first big steps. And that's how doing some myofascial work, doing some extra exercises to help all of that come into place is super important. So last resort is moving the wisdom teeth. See if there are other things that you can do to widen that arch on the roof of your mouth. Always go with the most minimally invasive approach. Please, please avoid surgery. Okay, let's look at cavities. One of the surprising things many people have learned recently is that cavities can heal themselves. Our teeth, much like our bones, have the ability to regenerate under the right conditions. The key is to create a hospitable environment in which supports the remineralization of your teeth. So how do you actually remineralize your teeth, and what is it? So remineralization is the process by which minerals are redeposited in the enamel. Tooth decay is triggered by our body's physiology as a result of our diet. So what happens is the hypothalamus in our brain regulates the relationship between our nervous system and our glandular system through the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus communicates with glands in our jaw called the parotoid arteries via the parotoid, it's PAROTID, parotid hormone releasing factor, which stimulates the release of calcium. When the parotid gland is stimulated by the hypothalamus, it releases the parotid hormone, which triggers the movement of mineral-rich dental lymph throughout the microscopic channels in our teeth. This mineral-rich fluid cleanses and remineralizes the teeth. When a cavity-causing diet is ingested, so that means a diet void of nutrients and minerals and fats and all of those things that our body needs to function well, the hypothalamus stops telling the parotid gland to release the hormone that circulates the dental remineralizing fluid. Over time, this interruption of mineral-rich fluid leads to the destruction of our teeth, which is known as tooth decay. While bacteria can produce acid, Dentists still often believe that's the culprit to cavities. It's not. It is this process getting halted because of our poor diet. So, in a nutshell, I am debunking the idea that of traditional dentistry by stating that these are the factors of compromised teeth. These three things. Lack of nutrition is the cause of physical degradation of our teeth, degeneration of our teeth, lack of proper grass-fed, nutrient-rich animal fats, and a lack of mineral-rich salt. So, this is your remineralization protocol that you're going to do 2 to 3 times daily if you're dealing with a cavity or you suspect there's something going on in your mouth that needs some attention. So, you're going to start with your good nutrition and getting Ninja Red every day. Put your mineral essence in there. If you don't like mineral essence, then you can rub it on your feet. Take some multigreens, your Mind Wise, and your Super C. Then you're going to take a fourth of a teaspoon of cod liver oil. I recommend Green Pastures. Fourth of a teaspoon of high grass-fed butter oil. I also recommend Green Pastures. But like I said, what you can do is you can get the capsules if you don't want to deal with the taste of both of those. Then use the Thieves toothpaste and the Thieves mouthwash after you eat. And then have a liberal ingestion of bone broth and organs. So you can also take the heart and soil supplements that I recommended. High dose of Young Living Super C. Of course, that was in number 1, so don't need to do it again. And then morning and evening, you're going to swish the probiotics in your mouth for 1 minute and then spit them out. So basically, open up a capsule of Young Living Life 9 in some water, swish it in your mouth and spit it out. Do that until it's all gone. You can do the same thing with Mighty Pro for kids. And then you're going to follow it up by actually taking a dose of probiotics. But what you're swishing in your mouth, you're not going to swallow that. Okay, so your healthy tooth protocol. The task for overall good dental care for your teeth is solid nutrition. So as you're healing your mouth, and really this is kind of good principle, is no gluten. Now, I often have sourdough that's fermented quite some time, but no gluten, no sugars, skim milk, or any processed milk when you are actively engaged in the process of remineralizing an affected tooth. It's important to consume your activators. So that's the liver meat, the organs from happy cows and chickens, butters, fish and bones. So the collagen, the skin and scales, colorful veggies, good grass-fed meat, bone stock. You want to breathe through your nose. If you're a mouth breather, you could consider getting a mouth guard or use mouth tape at night. Also, some dentists will work with you or orthodontists will work with you on retraining your brain and the muscles in your mouth so that you can be a mouth breather. And lower that stress. Stress is going to wreak all sorts of havoc in your mouth. So see your chiropractor, use your oils, lower your stress with your oils. I like Idaho balsam fir or Idaho black spruce under my tongue. That can lower cortisol levels, but also you can take Cortistop. That was a lifesaver for me when I was a mom of young kids because I was a yeller. And I realized my cortisol levels were super high. And so I started taking Cortistop. That helped tremendously. Taking your Ninja Red, take some of our CBD supplement, which is amazing. Just lower your stress and breathe in deeper. Like I said, no processed sugars or those spoonfuls of raw honey because you just don't want that sitting on your teeth. Topical regimes like clove and copaiba, you can use those for pain. I have a few recipes for you, and I am a little hesitant to share these with you. I know many like DIY. I think I like taking the easy button also because I know that these products work because it helped with the gingivitis in our family. It's also helping to heal a cavity that transpired in my daughter's mouth due to then using the Invisalign and all of that kind of stuff. And so I know that these products work. So I give you these recipes, but I'm telling you, I think it's just easier to use the Young Living products that are already pre-made. You can also try this tooth powder here. And it is really important that you get the aluminum-free baking soda and using a high quality salt. If you use iodized salt, like get rid of it. You need to be using a salt that's rich in minerals. And so often it's the iodized salt that causes all the issues for people with hypertension and things like that. You're going to find that using a sea salt is super important and will help you out. Here's a whitening toothpaste for you. I will note that the activated charcoal can get messy. So have a paper towel by you because it is messy and you're going to put this on. You're going to say, this is black. It's going to turn my teeth black. I promise you it won't, but it is messy, like I said. Or you can get an activated charcoal toothbrush. Oil pulling. This is a fun topic, but it's not always fun to do. So oil pulling, the benefits of doing oil pulling, what it basically is that you put some coconut oil in your mouth, you swish it around, let it get liquidy. You do this for 5 to 15 minutes, and then you spit it out in the trash. I don't recommend spitting it out in the sink, just because then it gets your sink really nasty. And then if you don't use hot water, it's going to get the pipes loaded with coconut oil. So, oil pulling removes bacteria and toxins and parasites from your mouth and your lymph system. It pulls congestion and mucus from your throat and loosens up your sinuses. It helps remineralize your teeth and strengthen your gums, but it does take some getting used to. Do not swallow when you're done. You want to make sure that you spit it out because you now have a bunch of toxins that have been pulled out and they're resting in that coconut oil. So spit it out. If you want some extra cleansing action to this, you can add the Thieves mouthwash, which is a little bit spicy, but that will also help. All right, further resources for you. Here's a list of websites. Here's some books where a lot of my information came from. And I just want to thank you so much for watching this. You can find me at these locations on Instagram and in Wise House Oils. In conclusion, though, I just want to remind you that taking care of your teeth as naturally as possible is incredibly beneficial to you for your overall health, as Weston Price showed us that good teeth meant overall good immune system. By focusing on the right nutrition and using natural products like Young Living essential oils and other high quality supplements for your grass-fed organ supplements and your butter and your fermented cod liver oil, you can even heal cavities naturally. Feel empowered, be calm when you go to the dentist. So thank you so much. Can't wait to see how you use these products and to hear your testimonies.